Good evening, everyone. This is Michael Romali here with the Hurricane Outlook and Discussion for August 31st, 2019, recorded around near 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do now have new tropical storm watches issued for portions of the Florida coast from Deerfield Beach to Sebastian Inlet. And if we look at exactly where that is all the way up through here. So just into portions of near southern Brevard County. And I do suspect that we will see additional watches issued for portions of the Florida coast later tonight or during the day tomorrow, as Dorian is expected to slow down and meander across the Bahamas and then eventually make the turn somewhere within here off towards the north and west. But when that occurs is exactly unknown. There really has not been that much of a change today within the models. However, some of the models are indicating more of a westerly shift, and that's going to be interesting to monitor during the day tonight and during the day tomorrow, or during tonight and into the day tomorrow, whether or not that trend actually continues or not. If it does, that will put more of Florida in that risk. And you can really see, I mean, most of the eastern peninsula of Florida is still within that cone of uncertainty, and even the 3-day cone has portions of the eastern Florida peninsula and eastern Florida coast well within that 3-day cone on the western edge of it. Although the official edge is expected to be offshore, there will be tropical storm-like conditions across portions of the coast, and that is why we've had tropical storm watches posted currently from Deerfield Beach to Sebastian Inlet. Going to the public advisory from the Hurricane Center, it does mention interest elsewhere in southern and central Florida should continue to monitor the progress of Dorian. Additional watches may be required for portions of the east coast of Florida tonight or during the day Sunday. That is going to be very interesting to monitor. I want to see if this is updated real quick, and it has not. So that's going to be very interesting to monitor. So a new tropical storm watch has been issued for those areas, and new watches may be posted later tonight or tomorrow. Right now, we are continuing to monitor the progress of Hurricane Dorian, which is an extremely powerful Category 4 hurricane, maximum sustained winds of 150 miles an hour. And Dorian has not really moved that much over the last little bit, more so taking a little bit of a jog towards the west-northwest, crossing over that 26 north line, and then kind of turning back towards the west. Here's the Bahamian Islands over here. Those are the Bahamian Islands. And Dorian is posed to come right across the Bahamian Islands and cause an extreme amount of potential destruction. And with the stalling storm over the Bahamas, that means a lot. And can mean a lot for the track, the track for Dorian. And aside from where this tropical storm watch is, Dorian is expected to more so come across portions over here near Great Algoco, the Crossing Rocks area, Cooperstown, and if the storm does in fact continue on this about 270 track and doesn't make that turn, far enough out, that could become more of a problem for portions along the Florida East Coast. And given the track wobbles, and we'll go back to the discussion that was just made, right here, the guidance has not significantly changed much, but any deviation in Dorian's core to the left would result in an increase of winds across the Florida East Coast. Given that the area of the tropical storm force winds could expand, and taking into account the uncertainty, a tropical storm watch has been issued from Deerfield Beach to Sebastian Inlet. And again, going back to the cone here, that's not that far offshore. We'll see if we can get the interactive cone here, and we can. That is not that far offshore of Florida. I mean, that's maybe about 100 miles or so, and with tropical storm force winds currently out to 100 miles, you can almost translate that right here, and that would result in tropical storm force winds somewhere along an area around here. So for that reason, though, there will be probably additional watches later in the evening or during the day tomorrow for portions of these Florida coast. And you can see here the 34 knot winds. If we can get that, we can't. So we'll go to the wind speed probabilities. You can see that there's still a pretty high chance of seeing tropical storm force winds in Florida. I mean, there is not by any means of the realm is Florida out of this potential. I mean, these colors right here at about 50%, half and half, and they go all the way to the eastern edge, probably Orange County or so. And that would put that the Florida East Coast needs to be monitoring this. Any deviation, and there will be deviations. There will be deviations, but that is very uncertain at this point to where and when that will happen. But inevitably, there will be some deviation in this track. The track will not verify 100%. And as I said earlier, I'm just not 100% sold yet on the idea that this comes out and, goes, far to the north. I'm sorry, but no, that's just the more so of the unlikely thing. Now, given that, again, this has a lot of implications. The longer it takes to give that northern turn, the closer it gets to Florida. And again, even the 50 knot wind speed probabilities, you still have around a 50% chance of, 60 mile an hour winds close to the coast. So by no means is the Florida East Coast saved or spared from this. Maybe the worst of the impacts currently, but again, any small deviations or any small trend toward the west could mean the difference for the Florida Peninsula. And that's going to be very key. And I mean, this 5-day cone is a very large cone. That's, well over 200 miles or so. That's a pretty large cone. So there really hasn't been any major update tonight in the path of Hurricane Dorian. However, this 3-day cone, though, again, that's still in the Florida, eastern Florida Peninsula and along the coast. So while Florida's not, explicitly in that, room for landfall, it doesn't take much to bring it ashore. I will guarantee you that it does not take a lot. And with the stalling hurricane in the Bahamas, you just can't trust it. You just cannot trust 100% that this will, do something like that. So residents along the Florida East Coast need to have a plan in place and have your final preparations done by tomorrow, if not really tonight. But if you need your final preparations done tomorrow, do it tomorrow. By 2 p.m. Monday, this should be moving out of the Bahamas, and then by 2 p.m. Tuesday, it's sitting offshore with deteriorating conditions along the Florida East Coast. And taking a look at the visible satellite once again, or the IR satellite, this thing is, here's 26 north. I mean, well, that thing actually has not updated in a while, so we won't use that. But you could see even here, this is the for 457, the visible satellite. Here's 26 north, and that's just barely creeping 26 north. So, again, it's not 100% for sure that, this is going to be something that will turn out, completely spare-free, besides the Bahamas. Nothing is 100% for sure at this current point in time. And I want to point something out. This is from Tark Weather. He's a meteorology student. And this is the UK Met ensembles, the UKIE ensemble guidance. The deterministic track today, highlighted in this red right here, has shifted further to the west today. After going pretty far offshore last night, it shifted further west, and the red is the deterministic track. And the green is the mean of the ensembles right through the Florida Peninsula. So While this may be too far west, Florida by no means is out of it. Anywhere from Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina need to be monitoring the progress of Hurricane Dorian. And I want to make that very, very, very clear. So, while the track guidance is still up for grabs, we are becoming a little bit more certain that there will be some impacts along the Florida East Coast by Monday or Tuesday, depending on exactly how close this gets to the Florida coast. We will have another track update at 11 o'clock, and the 18Z model runs will start pouring in here in just a little bit. That is going to be it for me for right now. I will be back at 11 o'clock for the 11 o'clock advisory, or sooner if need be. Hope you all have a safe rest of your evening and enjoy your evening, and I will be back around 11 o'clock.